Is TeamViewer really worth it this year? Let's have a conversation about that. And this will be an in-depth review so you can really know whether or not you should invest your hard-earned money actually on this provider, okay? So here's an overview I want you to really pay attention to. So if you think about TeamViewer, I want you to think about video conferencing. I want you to think about collaborative meetings. I want you to think about conference calls. I want you to think about productivity, okay? This is an important element. So the reason why I want you to really remember that is that TeamViewer actually doesn't apply just to small businesses, okay? If you are a freelancer, if you're a solopreneur, if you're a micro business, if you have less than 10 employees, less than 5 employees, no matter the size of your business, you can still use TeamViewer to actually increase your productivity, okay? This is an important element. But the cool thing is that TeamViewer actually is great for collaborative meetings, okay? I mean, you have a lot of pros and cons, but their pros actually are like the company's pros is actually when it comes to a collaborative meeting. So if you are looking into remote access software, try TeamViewer first, okay? Not only is it a great tool when it comes to remote access, it's also great for personal use. So you don't have, like I said, you don't have to use it in a business setting only. You can use it in a personal setting too. That's totally fine, okay? So what are the pros and cons when it comes to TeamViewer? Let's quickly have a conversation about that. The pros, well, you have a tool that is completely free for non-commercial use. If you want to use it for, let's say, personal use, or you have a project on the side, TeamViewer ain't charging you anything, okay? So that's completely free. You have easy access, and also it works with or without an account, okay? And you also have seamless file transfers. This is pretty good. So that's actually, when it comes to the plus side, the advantages, like the 4 top advantages to really remember. What about the cons? What about the drawbacks? What about the things you should be really worrying about? I mean, at least being concerned about. Well, first of all, you have a tool that is expensive for business use, especially if you increase the number of users, okay? And there is no self-service way to unsubscribe. So it's one of those things where you have to contact the company, and sometimes it can be a pain. It can be really a pain because they will make everything possible, okay, to discourage you from unsubscribing. So this is a bummer, but hey, listen, this is their business model. I respect that. So if you're thinking about conferencing tool and you're thinking about TeamViewer, you need to understand that TeamViewer is actually has specs that can really help your business or your activity actually flourish big time, okay? And that's one of those things I want you to really talk to you about. So if you are providing remote access support, it's actually crucial that the software be easy to download and set up, because the person on the other end is not necessarily tech savvy. That's one thing you have to be aware. Like a lot of those providers, sometimes they have good tech, but the tech is too complicated, right? It's not user friendly. So you have to really hire you have to hire a company just to train your staff to actually use the tool. So that's why I always pay attention to user friendliness when it comes to software like TeamViewer, okay? And if you are, let's say, primarily interested in accessing specific machines, you want software you can sign in to securely and leave running in the background, right? You don't want the software to actually encroach upon your primary activity. So the cool thing about TeamViewer is that TeamViewer does help you big time on those 2 fronts, okay? You have security, you have a user friendliness, and you have also a tool that actually can hide, quote unquote, hide behind your usual tech, okay? Your primary tech. So this is really good. And so TeamViewer, again, does those 2 things extremely well, in addition to offering some of the smoothest remote controls on the market. So you have the possibility to get things done faster. You have the possibility to control activities like remotely. And TeamViewer also works across platforms and is free for non-commercial use. I've said this before, but this is important to me. Like, if you want to use TeamViewer for a personal use, it will be free for you, okay? Something to really think about, especially from a flexibility point of view. This is really good. So if you think about TeamViewer, let's talk about pricing because I've spoken to you about pros and cons. And when it comes to the cons, I said if you want to use it for business purposes, it will cost you money, right? It will cost you something. So I want you to look right now on the screen. This is the cost that I was talking to you about. You can see that this is not actually this is not cheap, right? This is not cheap. And what I'm showing you on the screen here, it's actually the cost for teams. If you are interested in the cost for single users, I didn't put the cost for single users here because that cost actually has some what I call some filtering, some layers. Okay, there are some specs attached to that. So, but the team cost is actually more streamlined, but it's still something though. Think about it. You're paying like $112, $113 per month billed yearly, and so that's for the TeamViewer Premium, and for the TeamViewer Corporate, you are paying a little more. Okay, so that's something to really think about. So one thing I want to say here is that make sure you have thought about your needs first before getting to TeamViewer because it's costly and basically they have lots of restrictions too. Okay, when it comes to users, when it comes to settings, when it comes to modules. Okay, this is an important element. So, and also don't forget, I think I said this a little earlier, that canceling a TeamViewer plan is a bit of a pain because you can't do it on the website. You are instead told to email the support team. Okay, so is it good? Is it bad? It really depends. It depends on what's important for you. Some people are comfortable talking to customer service for that kind of stuff. Okay, and some people are not. Okay. One thing I want to say here is that if you are interested in TeamViewer, whether you want to use it for personal purposes or for business purposes or whatever, you want to contact the company first. Yeah, you want to contact the company, at least explain what your needs are so they can really see how to direct you to the right department. And then from there, you can really decide whether or not TeamViewer is for you. And if you're lucky, they can really even give you a free trial for less than 30 days or 30 days or 15 days, whatever. So you can test out the product. So when it comes to cost, I still want to talk about that. I mean, is TeamViewer really free? Because you know there are lots of reports in the press in the news media that TeamViewer is free. At least that's what the company wants to. That's the kind of buzz the company wants to disseminate, right? So the free version of TeamViewer is actually enforced by an AI designed to detect commercial activity that cuts off access for users it deems suspicious. What it means here is that if you're using the free version, TeamViewer is going to make sure that you are using it for personal purposes. As long as you actually get into business use, and they do have sophisticated ways to actually detect that, they will just deactivate your license. Okay, this is an important element to really think about. So one thing I also want to say here is that you have to really understand that it's just better to do the right thing. If you are going to use TeamViewer for business purposes, pay for it, because they spend money actually developing the tool, and they need to be able to get their return on investment, right? So if you're using it for business purposes, you're using it to make money. Make sure that you pay for stuff, okay? Now, if you're using it for personal purposes and you know you're strictly using it for personal purposes and not in a business generating capacity, no problem, okay? You don't have to worry about the AI actually, quote unquote, funding you. No, okay? And in terms of platform support, TeamViewer actually offers support for Mac OS, Linux, and mobile platforms, okay? This is really good. So you are able to get things done faster. You also have Windows, so that's really cool. And one thing you need to understand here is that TeamViewer is actually one of the safest products in this space in the whole world. Okay, so the company uses 256-bit AES encryption, multi-factor authentication, and other industry-grade security features, okay? So this is really good in terms of credibility, accountability, and also security, okay? The company is also certified according to SOC 2, HIPAA, High Tech, ISO, IEC, IEC, and ISO. So that's really you have lots of layers of security. That's really cool. That's a reassuring that things are really working the way they are supposed to work. So let me talk to you quickly about the setup here. So if you think about TeamViewer this year, what kind of setup should you be thinking about? So remote access software by nature needs to be installed on at least two machines: the computer you want to access remotely and the one that you are connecting from, right? So it's actually best if this process is straightforward, in particular if you have to talk to someone through the installation over the phone, right? Especially if you have like a team or even yourself, and you're not really familiar with the whole process or something similar. So to get started, you want to go to teamviewer.com and you want to download the client. TeamViewer is in the midst of rolling out a new user interface for the desktop application for connecting to devices. So that's really good. So you have an option to use the long-standing interface or the new one. So that's really cool. And one thing I want to say here, it's all about flexibility. It's all about reliability. So the new interface will require a TeamViewer account, which you can get for free if the account is for, again, personal use. So this is really cool. And one thing I want you to also remember here is that you want to install the client, the TeamViewer client, on several devices, because if you just install it on one device, that means you just restricted to that device. But if you install it, if you install it on desktop, on laptop, on mobile, then you have flexibility, right? So you can choose on which platform to actually access TeamViewer from. That's really good from a flexibility point of view, especially if you are going to use TeamViewer in a business capacity. If you're using it for a personal capacity, that's not really a problem, because you just most likely using the tool in a specific manner. But if you're using for business purposes and you want flexibility and you are going to incorporate other devices into the equation, it's just better to do it that way, like I told you. So is TeamViewer really worth it this year? Let's quickly have a conversation about that. So the thing is that I would say yes to a certain point, especially their controls. The controls are very, very smooth, and this is really cool, especially when it comes to flexibility. Okay, you're able to you're able to access the most important elements real fast, the most important destinations real fast, without actually noticing that you are using remote access software. Okay, because everything will feel more or less in real time. Okay, so you can browse the web, you can write a document, and you can even edit images over the network with only the occasional problems caused by lag. So this is really important because you are able to get things done fast. Okay, and one thing I want to say here also is that it's also about your internet speed, how fast your internet is actually powerful. I mean, not powerful, is actually fast. Okay, so this is an important element. But the cool thing is that TeamViewer does support sharing system audio, which actually always works flawlessly according to our research. Okay, you can listen to music without disruption. Okay, so this is really cool on your local network. You could even watch a video with sound this way. Okay, although a little bit of stuttering. So one thing I want to say here is that when it comes to TeamViewer, it's all about flexibility. It's all about capacity, but most importantly, it's all about your own internet speed too. One thing you also need to understand here is that maybe you have to upgrade the tier that you choose, because TeamViewer, I mean, we spoke about cost a little earlier, but it's better to actually choose a higher tier so you can have access to better quality, better audio, better video, all that kind of stuff. Okay, as opposed to just wasting time in terms of the low level pricing tiers. So when you think about TeamViewer meeting, let's quickly, and this will be the final point here. Let's talk about sharing files in your face, as a matter of fact. Okay, so TeamViewer, and that's a good thing, offers a file transfer mode for any device you are connected to. It shows a two-pane file browser with all files on both computers available to send and receive, allowing you to transfer files directly from a folder on one device to a folder or another. So that's really good in terms of accessibility, in terms of credibility, in terms of what I call in terms of efficiency. Okay, so TeamViewer includes audio and video chat, paid accounts only, so you can see and talk with whoever is sitting at the computer you are helping control. So a whiteboard feature lets you draw on the screen so that you can point things out, right? So that's really good. And that's also can be very handy when using a TeamViewer to provide support. With the audio and video chat and whiteboard features, you can talk about anything out loud. You can emphasize areas of the screen by actually drawing them, and even look the person you are working with in the eye, right? It's all about flexibility. So the only other remote management app that I have reviewed is actually Remote PC. That's the only one that allows you to get this type of what I say productivity done. Okay, so TeamViewer also lets you record remote sessions, but again, this is only for paid accounts only. So overall, can you actually, do I recommend TeamViewer Meeting? Of course, yes. I recommend TeamViewer Meeting big time. Remote access software is borderline magic when it works very well, letting you see and control one computer from another, right? And TeamViewer has been providing this practical magic since 2005, and it really does show. And every potential stumbling block seems to have been anticipated, whether you are offering tech support for someone else or want access to your own computer from the road. Okay, so that makes TeamViewer a wonderful choice when it comes to remote access software at a very affordable pricing. So in conclusion to this conversation, I spoke to you about TeamViewer Meeting. I gave you the overview and I gave you the setup. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.